Davis sat in the cold lawyer's office and stared at the old photograph. The man in the picture was a stranger. Henry, her great uncle. She had never met him, never even heard his name spoken at family dinners. Now he was dead, and he had left everything to her. The lawyer, a thin man named George, slid a folder across the desk. "Your relative owned property in Colorado," he said. "A cabin on about 50 acres. The land is not valuable. The building is old, very old, but it is yours now." Took the folder with shaking hands. She was 32 years old and broke. Her job at the university paid barely enough to cover her apartment in the city. She studied ancient civilizations and broken pottery. Her colleagues called her work pointless. They called her pointless too, though not to her face. She had inherited a worthless cabin, perfect. 2 weeks later, drove a rented truck up a mountain road in Colorado. The cabin appeared through the trees like a ghost. It was gray and broken. The roof had holes. The windows were dark and empty. Wild bushes grew around the foundation. No one had lived here for a long time. Parked the truck and walked to the front door. The wood was rotted. The lock was rusted. She pushed, and the door opened with a loud creak. Inside, dust covered everything. Old furniture sat under sheets like sleeping bodies. Pictures hung on the walls, all of them showing the same serious man. Henry, always alone, always looking away from the camera. Walked through the rooms slowly. A kitchen with an old stove. A living room with a fireplace. Upstairs, 2 bedrooms that smelled of mice and time. Nothing valuable, nothing special. She found Henry's study on the 2nd floor. Books lined the walls, not novels or history books, but thick volumes about physics and mathematics. She pulled one from the shelf. It was filled with handwriting in the margins. Numbers, diagrams, questions. In a drawer, she found old letters. They were addressed to scientific journals. Henry had written about receiving signals from space. Strange radio patterns that did not come from Earth. He had documented everything carefully. Dates, times, frequency measurements. The last letter in the drawer was different. It was addressed to no one. It was dated 1963 and written in angry handwriting. It said, "They think I am crazy. They published nothing. They will not listen. But they are coming. I know they are coming. The signals are warnings. I have hidden the truth where they cannot destroy it. If anyone reads this, you must understand. We are not alone. We have never been alone, and we are not ready." His heart beat faster. She read the letter again. Then she noticed something odd about the cabin. The walls downstairs were thick, too thick for a small mountain cabin. The foundation was reinforced with metal that looked too advanced for 1950. Old construction techniques did not use materials like this. She went to the basement. The basement was dark. No windows, just concrete walls and a dirt floor. Used her phone as a light. She walked around slowly, looking at every corner. Then she saw it. One section of the wall looked different. The concrete was newer, different color. She pushed on it. Hard, it did not move. She searched the walls for a button or a handle. Nothing. She looked at the floor. A thin line ran across the concrete in front of the wall, like a seam. Found an old shovel in the corner. She used it to push on the floor along the seam. Something clicked. The wall shifted. Dust fell from the ceiling. A door opened in the basement wall. A hidden door. His hands shook. Inside was another room. This room was clean, dry. It looked like no one had ever been inside it. Lights activated when she stepped through the door. Soft lights, electric lights, but the cabin had no electricity. The walls were covered with strange symbols, star charts, equations that looked like nothing had studied. In the center of the room sat a flat metal surface with controls, buttons, switches, a language did not understand. On the wall behind the controls was a message, written in English, written clearly, written for someone to find it. The message said, "To the people of Earth, we have watched you. We hope you survive what comes. This device will help you know when they arrive. Use it wisely. Do not use it in anger. This is your only warning. This is your only chance." Stood in the hidden room and understood. Her great uncle Henry had not been crazy. He had been right all along. He had found proof. Real proof. And he had hidden it here in this cabin that no one wanted, that everyone had forgotten. She was the first person to find it. Walked back upstairs slowly. She looked out the window at the mountains. The sun was setting. The sky was orange and red. She thought about her colleagues at the university. They had laughed when she said she was leaving to manage an inheritance. They had said the cabin was worthless, that she was wasting her time. Smiled. They had no idea what she had found, for 3 days did nothing but explore the hidden chamber. She took photographs with her phone. She wrote notes in a small notebook. She touched nothing. She activated nothing. She just looked and learned and tried to understand. The metal surface in the center was clearly a control panel. Buttons and switches covered every inch of it. Some buttons were marked with symbols. Others had text written above them in English. One button had a simple word, activate. Did not touch it. Instead, she studied the walls. The star charts showed constellations she recognized, but they also showed stars marked with symbols. Lines connected different stars. Numbers appeared along the lines, distances perhaps, or times, or warnings. One section of the wall had a written message in English. The handwriting was Henry's. It said, "Do not activate alone, do not activate in fear. Activate only when humanity is ready to defend itself. The signal will bring them. They will come to see if we have learned, if we have survived, if we are worthy of help." Below Henry's note was another message. This one was older. It was carved into the metal wall itself. It said, "The shadow approaches, 12 years of peace. Then darkness, then choice. We believe you will choose strength. We believe you will choose honor. We believe you will choose together." Photographed everything. Then she climbed the basement stairs and left the cabin. She drove to the nearest town, a small place called Riverside, population 800. She found the local library and sat at an old computer. She typed Henry's name into a search. News articles appeared. From 1963, Henry had been a respected physicist. He had worked for a research facility studying radio waves and space signals. Then suddenly he had gone quiet. The articles said he had become obsessed with strange signals that no one else could detect. The facility had fired him, called him unstable. Found an article from 1965. It said Henry had given a lecture at a small conference about signals from space. The lecture had been mocked by the scientific community. The article quoted other scientists calling his work fantasy and delusion. The last article was from 1968. Henry had donated a large sum of money to the university in Colorado, but he had no more scientific work published. He had disappeared from academic life. Found a phone number. It took 4 calls, but she finally reached a man named Dr. Hayes. He was 84 years old. He had worked with Henry at the research facility in the 1960s. Henry was brilliant, Dr. Hayes said on the phone. His voice was thin and weak. But no one believed him. I believed him, but I was afraid. I was young. I wanted to keep my job, so I said nothing. Henry paid the price. Told him about the cabin, about the hidden room, about the message. The line went silent for a long time. Then Dr. Hayes said, "Henry was right. I always knew it. I never doubted, but I was afraid. Where are you?" Told him, "I live an hour from there," Dr. Hayes said. "I have lived here for 40 years, waiting, hoping someone would find what Henry found. I will come to you tomorrow." Dr. Hayes arrived at the cabin in an old car. He was tall but bent with age. His eyes were bright and sharp. He looked at and said, "You are family." Great niece said. "Henry would have wanted that," Dr. Hayes said. "Come, show me." They went down to the basement, opened the hidden door. Dr. Hayes stepped inside and stopped, his eyes filled with tears. "Yes," he whispered. "This is real. This is exactly what Henry described. This is exactly what they showed him." They spent the entire day in the hidden room. Dr. Hayes read the alien message aloud. He explained the star charts. He translated some of the symbols using physics knowledge that did not possess. "The shadow," Dr. Hayes said. "That is what Henry called them, an invasion force. They come from beyond the stars. They conquer worlds. They take resources. The message here is a warning, but it is also an invitation. If we activate this beacon, the alien people who created it will know we have found it. They will come, or their enemies will come, or both." "Why would Henry hide this?" asked. "Why not tell the world?" "Because the governments of Earth would take it," Dr. Hayes said. "They would fight over it. They would make weapons. They would destroy it in fear. Henry wanted to protect the message. He wanted to protect humanity's choice. He wanted the right person to find this, someone with courage, someone with a good heart." Dr. Hayes looked at. "I think he was waiting for you," he said. That night, and Dr. Hayes sat in the cabin's kitchen. They had not eaten all day. Neither of them was hungry. "What do we do?" asked. "We activate it," Dr. Hayes said. "We activate it because Henry was right about everything, and because the message says they are coming. The shadow is coming, and we need help. What if it brings danger? Said. Then we face danger together, Dr. Hayes said. We face it as humans. That is what the message wants us to understand. That is why they left it here. Looked out the window at the dark mountains. Tomorrow, she said. We activate it tomorrow, but first I need to know everything. I need to understand what Henry understood. Then we read his journals, Dr. Hayes said. All of them. Henry wrote down everything, his fears, his discoveries, his hope. His hope is what matters now. They spent the night reading. Henry had been brilliant. He had been careful. He had been alone. But he had never stopped believing that humanity would be found worthy of the truth. The next morning, and Dr. Hayes stood in front of the control panel. Reached out, her hand moved toward the button marked Activate. Wait, Dr. Hayes said. Once we do this, everything changes. Are you ready? Thought about her life, her job that paid nothing, her colleagues who mocked her, her future that was going nowhere. She thought about Henry, a brilliant man who had discovered the truth and hidden it for decades, a man who had waited for someone to find it. Yes, she said, I am ready. She pressed the button. The room filled with light. A low hum started. It grew louder and louder. The walls began to glow with a soft blue color. Numbers appeared on the control panel. Letters, symbols, a message formed on the screen. The light show lasted 3 minutes, then everything stopped. The walls went dark again. The lights faded. The hum disappeared. And Dr. Hayes stood in silence. What happens now? Asked. We wait, Dr. Hayes said. The message is sent. Now we have to see who answers. They waited for an hour. Nothing happened. Began to think the whole thing was a malfunction, just old technology breaking down, a machine that had stopped working decades ago. Then the ground shook. It was not an earthquake, it was something else. The concrete walls of the hidden room trembled. A sound came from above, a roaring sound, like an airplane, but wrong, too loud, too constant. And Dr. Hayes ran upstairs. They burst out of the cabin into the afternoon light. The sky was on fire. A massive object descended through the clouds. It was not an airplane. It was not anything it had ever seen. It was the size of a football stadium. It was black and silver. It moved without wings, without engines, without sound. Just a terrible, impossible silence as it descended toward the cabin. The object stopped about 500 feet in the air. It hung there, waiting. Felt her knees go weak. Dr. Hayes gripped her arm. It is them, he said. The ones who left the message. They came back for us. A light beam shot down from the object. It circled the cabin. It examined the landscape. Then it moved away. The beam looked for something else. A road, a town, the nearest city. It was mapping everything. Then the object rose, straight up, higher and higher. It passed through the clouds and disappeared. The sky was normal again. And Dr. Hayes stood outside the cabin and tried to breathe. What do we do? Asked. We wait for the next visitor, Dr. Hayes said. That was the answer to our signal, but now others will have detected it too. He was right. 4 hours later, military vehicles arrived. They came down the mountain road like an invasion. Trucks, helicopters, armed soldiers. They surrounded the cabin and ordered Dr. Hayes to come out with their hands raised. A man in a colonel's uniform stepped out of a black car. His name was Colonel Frank. He was gray-haired and serious. His eyes were cold and professional. You sent a signal, he said. It was not a question. Yes, said. That is a federal crime, said. You will surrender all equipment and information immediately. This property is now under military control. Soldiers moved into the cabin. They came back carrying the metal equipment from the hidden room. They carried Henry's journals. They photographed the walls with the star charts. Looked at. What is this? He asked. A warning, said. From another civilization. They said something is coming, something dangerous. They left this technology to help us survive. His face did not change. Where is the documentation? He asked. In the journals, said. My great-uncle Henry found the first message in 1963. He hid this technology to keep it safe. He waited for someone to find it and understand it. Took the journals. He looked at the handwriting. He looked at the star charts. Take them both, he said to his soldiers. We are moving this entire operation, full containment. No information leaves this site. And Dr. Hayes were put in separate vehicles. They were driven down the mountain to a military facility hidden in a valley. It was a secret place. No maps showed it. No one knew it existed. Inside the facility, they were separated, was put in a clean room with a table and chairs. She waited for hours. No one came. No one told her anything. Finally entered the room. He sat across from her. "The journals are genuine," he said. "The technology in the cabin is not human-made. Our scientists have confirmed this. The star charts match observations we have made of space." "Then you understand," said. "We need to prepare. Something is coming." "What is coming?" asked. "An invasion," said. "The message said an invasion force approaches. They conquer worlds. They take what they want. The technology in the cabin was left to help us defend ourselves." Was silent for a long moment. "How many people know about this?" he asked. "Just Dr. Hayes and me," said. "And now your people." "It stays that way," said. "This information is classified at the highest level. You will work with my scientists. You will help us understand the technology. You will help us understand what is coming. If you refuse or if you tell anyone, you will disappear. You understand?" "Understood." "Yes," she said. "But you have to tell the governments of the world. You cannot keep this secret. If something is coming, everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to prepare." "That is not your decision," said. "No," agreed. "But it is the right decision. The message said we need to choose together, as a species. If you hide this, you are choosing for everyone. That is not right." Stood up 6 months past, lived in the military facility. She worked with scientists every day. They studied the technology. They tried to understand it. They tried to make it work like the ancient message said it should. Dr. Hayes worked with her. They became the experts, the only people who truly understood what Henry had discovered, the only people who could interpret the alien message. The military wanted weapons. That was their first instinct. Asked 100 times, "Can we use this to make weapons? Can we create a defense system?" "Yes," said each time. "But that is not what it is for. The message is clear. This is for understanding, for preparation, for choosing wisely." But was also planning something else. She had made friends with a scientist named Dr. Lisa. Lisa worked in communications. One day, Lisa brought her a small device. "This can send information off the base," Lisa whispered. "It is very small. They will not detect it. Where do you want it to go?" Thought about that? She gave Lisa the names of 3 journalists, good people, people who reported the truth, people who had won awards for their courage. Over the next week, sent them everything. The photographs of the hidden room, copies of Henry's journals, the translation of the alien message, everything. The journalists did not wait. They could not wait. 3 major news organizations released the story at the same time. "Extraterrestrial technology found in Colorado," the headlines said. "Alien warning, invasion approaching Earth." The world exploded. Governments it, scientists debated it, people rioted, some people said it was fake, some people said it was real and the governments were lying, some people said humanity should surrender immediately, others said they would fight. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. All the countries sent representatives. They demanded access to the technology. They demanded proof. Colonel was furious, but there was nothing he could do. The truth was out. The secret was broken. Was brought before the United Nations. She stood in a great hall and spoke to representatives from every country in the world. She talked about Henry, a man who had discovered the truth and kept it safe. She talked about Dr. Hayes, a man who had believed when no one else did. She talked about the alien message, about the warning, about the invitation to prepare together. "We are not alone," said. "We have never been alone. The universe is full of civilizations. Most of them are peaceful, some are not. The message tells us that an invasion force approaches. They will be here in less than 10 years. We have no time to fight about ownership. We have no time to fight about power. We must work together, all of us. Every nation, every person. We must prepare together or we will fail together." The room was silent when she finished. Then the representative from Japan stood up. Then the representative from Brazil. Then many others. They stood and they applauded. 3 months later, the United Nations created the Earth Defense Council. Every country contributed scientists. Every country contributed soldiers. Every country contributed resources. Became the director of the Ancient Technology Division. Her job was to understand the alien technology. Her job was to figure out how to use it. Dr. Hayes worked beside her. He was old, but his mind was sharp. He understood the mathematics. He understood the alien language better than anyone. They made discoveries. The technology was not a weapon. It was a shield. It projected a barrier around Earth, a barrier that could block most space-based attacks, a barrier that could last for years if they had to use it. But there was more. The technology included information, libraries of information, hundreds of files about the invading species, what they wanted, how they thought, their weaknesses. The invaders were not supernatural. They were not unstoppable. They were just more advanced. They had better weapons, better ships, but they had weaknesses all creatures do. They were not good at adapting. They did not like unexpected changes. They followed patterns. They expected worlds to surrender quickly. Studied everything. She worked 18-hour days. She barely slept. Then one day, Dr. Hayes came to her office. He looked old, very old. "It is starting," he said. "What is starting?" asked. "The approach," Dr. Hayes said. "Our telescopes have detected their ships. They are moving toward Earth. They will be here in 8 months. His heart felt very heavy. But she also felt something else. Determination, courage, hope. The world knew now. The world was preparing. Humanity was standing together for the first time in its history. 8 months later, stood in a command center with colonel and leaders from the alien fleet arrived on a Tuesday morning. The skies over every continent showed their ships. The ships were massive, gray and cold. They demanded surrender on all radio frequencies. "Humans of Earth, you have 24 hours to surrender. Surrender or be destroyed." The world did not surrender. Had prepared for this moment. She had trained for it. She had studied the alien language using the technology from the hidden chamber. She sent a message back. "We are Earth, we are humans. We do not surrender, we offer negotiation." The response came quickly. "There is nothing to negotiate. You are primitive, you will be conquered, you will be absorbed. Resistance is pointless." But the aliens were wrong. They had underestimated humanity. The shield activated. It covered Earth like a dome of pure energy. The alien ships tried to break through. Their weapons struck the shield and bounced away. The shield held. The aliens were surprised. They had expected quick victory. They had expected humans to be easy. Sent another message. "We have technology you do not expect. We have resources you do not understand. We have courage that will surprise you. We will not break. We will not surrender. We will defend our world." Then something remarkable happened. Another fleet appeared. This one was different. The ships were sleek and silver. They came from beyond the solar system. They came fast. The ships that had left the message. The ones who had warned Earth. They had come to see if humanity was worthy. They attacked the invading fleet. The battle was chaos. Ships exploded. Energy weapons painted the sky with light. The two alien fleets fought above Earth. The invaders thought they were alone. They thought Earth was helpless. They did not know about the allies, the ancient allies, the ones who believed in humanity. Watched on the screens. The invading fleet was losing. Ships were destroyed. Their commander tried to escape. Sent one final message. "You failed because you underestimated us. You thought humans were weak. You thought humans were easy to defeat. You were wrong. Humans are strong. Humans are adaptable. Humans are clever. Humans are brave. We will not surrender. We will not break. You will fail." The invading fleet jumped to. They ran. They escaped. The war was over. But it was not a victory just for humans. The allies understood. Humanity had proven itself. Humanity had shown courage. Humanity had chosen to stand together. The alien ships came down to Earth. They landed in neutral territory, on a plain in Africa, traveled there with colonel and leaders from every nation. The aliens emerged from their ships. They were tall. They had 4 arms. Their skin was blue-gray. They looked at humanity and they looked at the shield technology. "You are worthy," they said. Their words came through a translator. "You are worthy of our help. You are worthy of our protection. We will teach you. We will show you how to use this technology. We will show you how to travel the stars. But you must choose carefully. You must choose honor." Stepped forward, she spoke for humanity. "We choose to be peaceful," she said. "We choose to learn. We choose to join with other species as equals. We choose to protect the weak and defend the innocent. We choose honor." The aliens bowed. They showed respect to humanity. Over the next years, Earth changed. Humans learned from the aliens. Humans built new technology. Humans traveled to other planets. humans became part of a galactic community of civilizations. Remained the director of the program, but she also became a teacher. She taught other humans about the ancient technology. She taught them about the message. She taught them about the importance of choosing wisely. Dr. Hayes lived long enough to see humanity's first flight to Mars. He died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 92. Often visited the cabin in Colorado. The hidden room had been preserved as a museum. People came from all over the world to see where the first contact had happened, to see where Henry had hidden the message, to understand the moment when humanity learned it was not alone. Spent time there, sitting in the hidden room, reading Henry's journals. She understood now why he had waited so long. He had been waiting for someone who would not just find the technology, someone who would use it to bring humanity together, someone who would choose the right path. She had been that person. The inheritance that everyone said was worthless turned out to be worth everything. It was worth the future of humanity. It was worth the stars themselves. Looked at the alien control panel, the one that had sent the signal that changed everything. She thought about her great uncle Henry, alone in this cabin for decades, keeping the secret, protecting the message, believing that someone would find it, believing that humanity would be worthy. He had been right. She ran her hand along the wall of the hidden chamber, the place where it all began, the place where humanity's real story started. Outside, the sun was setting over the Colorado mountains. The light was golden and beautiful. Smiled, the future was bright now. Humanity had been given a chance. Humanity had taken that chance and made it count. The inheritance that was supposed to be worthless had made her rich beyond measure. Not in money, in hope, in purpose, in the knowledge that she had helped save her species. That was worth everything. The screens showed the approaching fleet, thousands of ships, more power than humanity had ever imagined. The invasion had begun. "You are not in a position to judge what is right," he said. He left the room. Sat alone, she had activated the beacon. She had brought the military. She had changed everything. Now she had to find a way to change it again, to change it for the better, to make sure the world knew the truth. "Signal sent," it said, "awaiting response."